Good afternoon, my name is Paul. The car behind me is a very interesting car, especially if you like Land Rover Defenders, and I do, very much so. It looks a little bit like a Land Rover Defender. It does an awful lot of what a Land Rover Defender can do, but it isn't a Land Rover Defender. It's something completely different. It should have been a Land Rover Defender, I'll explain why in a second, but it's rugged. It's a brilliant towing machine. It was supposed to have been built in Wales initially, but they actually built it in France. So it's a collaboration, England and French. It is the Ineos Grenadier. I'd like to show you around. So suspiciously like a Land Rover Defender, it's boxy, it sits quite high up, it looks very utilitarian. You've got these visible door hinges which are large, strong. Again, they're on the outside. You've got these additional plastic sections to the doors which are there to protect the door if the door opens against something else. Plastic wheel arches. This particular one is set on steel wheels with Bridgestone all-terrain tyres. The chassis. Now, the chassis of the original Land Rover Defender, and all the Defenders up to about 2015, was a ladder chassis with a body that bolted onto that chassis. With the new shape Defender, they went away from that into a monocoque design in order to save weight and for lots of other reasons. This has stayed with the traditional, very strong design of having a ladder chassis with a body bolted to it. Now, this section here is a part of the chassis. Now that is a very serious piece of structure. That's very thick, very strong, very robust. It runs right through the car and it's designed to make this car work incredibly well off-road. You can see there, look, very, very rugged, very strong design. So the car was originally designed, or the plan was to have a Land Rover. So when Jaguar Land Rover finished making the previous shape Defender and went on to the designs of the new shape Defender, the gentleman who was responsible for this car approached them, from what the story says, and said, "Can I please have the tooling? I'd like to carry on and make these cars." Jaguar Land Rover said, "No, we're not doing that." So he went away and went to the drawing board, and this is what he came up with. Now, one of the things that I would love to have seen in the original shape Defender is a 6-cylinder engine. The Transit 4 cylinders, very good, it's very strong, but it feels very agricultural, and it is very agricultural. The TD5s and the 400s, all the previous engines, they're all very good in terms of out and out power, towing, this, that, and other, but they are not smooth and quiet. This car has a 3-litre straight 6, which means 6 cylinders in a line, turbocharged BMW engine, and that's something worth talking about. It's tuned to 281 brake horsepower, which admittedly the engine is capable of far more than that, but in a car such as this, it's not a quarter of a mile sprint car, it's not a 150 mile an hour sports car, it is a utility vehicle. But 281 brake horsepower does make this shift pretty nicely, I've got to say. It sounds beautiful. The smoothness of the 6-cylinder engine is absolutely wonderful. I had a history with BMW in the late 90s and early 2000s, and I came to love the engines. All the 6-cylinder engines with BMW I fell in love with. I think they made, and they potentially still make, the best 6-cylinder engines on the market today, and it suits this car very, very well. And it suits the automatic gearbox. The automatic gearbox has a manual override, so the previous shape Defender, unless you put a Discovery gearbox in it, was only available with a manual. So already we're a couple of steps ahead of where the old Defender left off, but not quite where the new Defender is in terms of um, comfort and speed and what have you. But this is definitely more utilitarian than the new shaped Defender. The new shaped Defender, is there any chance you're ever going to step on the wings, on the tread plates on the wings? Not in a million years. Could you put tread plates on these and stand on it? Absolutely, you could. It is a very much a car that you can trek with, you can go off road with, you could put a tent on the roof with. There's lots of things you could use this car for. Please excuse the sheep, they're shouting at me. They think they want some food and they think I'm going to feed them. So in terms of the way the car drives, it's got more power than the outgoing original Defender. The engine is smoother, it feels nicer, it comes with a really nice, easy to use automatic gearbox. The styling is again very much like the Defender. This line here which comes out at the haunches, you can see here, built in handbatch, which is France. And I do like that one. The double entendre, built on purpose. Of course it was, but for a purpose. So it's wider. It's definitely wider. That front bumper is designed to cater for a large winch. So when the winch isn't there, all you see there is a nice large bumper, but it's designed to have a winch fitted in there depending on what specification you have. Side steps, which are nice and strong, help you to get in and out of the car. Now, as I walk around the car, we've got a Hummer here, which is not for sale, but it's here in storage. It's a new one, and I'll show you in a minute. But if cars were able to have offspring, my feeling is that this would be the offspring or the love child of a Hummer and an original shaped Defender, because it's wider. It's got a bit of a Hummer stance. The noise that tells me that the doors are open. So it's got a wider stance, so a wider footprint, which does help in terms of handling because this does corner pretty flat. But if you look at the proportions and the shape of the car, a split between Hummer and Defender, I think sounds about right, especially when you look at it from the front. And even more so when you get to the inside, which I'll show you in a second. But to say, there's lots of room in the back. A two-thirds door split there that you can see. I'm going to move around to the inside now. Again, very much utilitarian door catch, but immediately nicer inside. So is it as plush as a new shaped Defender? No, it's not. It is more utilitarian than that, but you do have this nice double stitching through here, nice use of materials. It looks good. On the inside, this is where it all starts to get rather interesting. Because what you have there are Recaro seats. They're not bucket seats, but they are very supportive. They do keep you upright because, of course, you might not be going around corners fast, but you might be leaning, and this keeps you upright and makes for a very, very comfortable seating position indeed. A nice quirky steering wheel. Again, all hand stitched in leather. I'll climb up into the seat. So, and the first thing you notice is there's no real binnacle there. You've got a small screen there, which I'll show you in a second. A navigation screen in the center, when you can see there's a digital readout here for the miles per hour, rev counter, fuel, and onboard computer functions there. There are more functions there, but I'll go through those when I turn the ignition on. But you've got this layout now, which looks very much like an aircraft cockpit. The buttons are very large, and they're very large for a reason, because they're designed to be used wearing gloves. So if you're somewhere where it's freezing cold or where you need gloves, you can operate all of these switches using gloves easily. They're nice and far apart. The hazard lights are guarded by these two bars here. So at a glance, you're not going to press the hazard light hazards for by accident. And then the mute, if someone's talking to you, you can have your hand on the gear stick, push the mute button, or adjust the volume control there. Start, stop. Front and rear demist. Heated seats with 3 different heat settings. I'm going to turn the ignition and start that lovely sounding BMW engine. And of course, if you've had BMWs before, this all looks rather familiar. So it's a grip here where I can pull the two together, pull it into D. I haven't got my seatbelt on, it's just telling me that. I can now move it into neutral, press that, move it into reverse, which then engages the camera, which is a nice clear camera. And then to put it into park, simply press the button for park. Now you've got the high and low lock as well. Just going to turn just in behind here, and that is an additional power output that you can plug something into. So whether it's something you display on the dash, or charging points, or a cooler, or what have you, and you've got the same down that side as well. So which is int 1 and int 2, and you can arm those both and switch them both off if you want to. The X1 will arm the driver side behind me, and to the side of me I have, in fact they're both behind me, here we have plugs. So there's a plug there, so pull that stopper out of the plug, and in there I can plug in, there's another one at the back there, there's 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. They are external plugs. So if you have a light bar in the front, for example, you can wire that light bar in the front straight into here, so you don't have to start getting electricians out to tap into your wiring loom. It's already set up. If you have working lights, or a light, if you have an awning or a tent on top of the car, you can then plug in other domestic appliances into here, into the same kind of plug that you've got there, and the same on this side. So there are various different areas that you can plug additional accessories into, light bars, side lamps, working lights, that sort of thing, which makes this a very, very useful car indeed. You can secure things onto here, like your tent and what have you, if you have one. So this is a very versatile car, has a lot of uses, and those aren't actual plugs. What if you pop this out, pop that out, there are 2 plugs which are covered in plastic, so they don't touch anything else, but you can wire in there anything you like up to 10 amps, and you can isolate them from here. So, and the power here, that power switch there, means that you can use any one of these without turning the ignition on. Of course, you need to understand that the battery has a certain amount of life, but you can add batteries as well. So that is a very handy thing that I've never seen on a factory built Land Rover, or anything else for that matter. And that is the console that sits in the head lining between the 2 front seats. So an interesting car. The off-road capabilities are incredible. I've seen some of the tests, and it is one of those cars that you really can take pretty much anywhere. You can take it through deep water, you can take it through snow and ice and rock climbing, proper off-roading. This one's also got a guard at the back, so if you have a large dog or whatever, it stops the dog from coming over, or if you're merely stacking things higher than the rear seats, it gives the occupants in here complete protection should you have to hit the brakes. We've got, let's turn it off now. We've got rubber mats, but underneath the rubber mats you've also got a plastic floor. So nice fitted Grenadier mats. Underneath there's a plastic floor, and it has bungs, so it's designed to let water out should you have to get in and out of the car with wet boots on, if you're waiting and what have you. Instead of water sitting in there and rotting the car, the water will run out through the bottom. Very nice feature, well thought out. Moving towards the back, again more of this nice mix of materials, smart contrast stitching, again more of this floor, 3 proper seat belts. Again, they are all made by Recaro, so they are surprisingly comfortable. And down there, if you see, there is a USB and USB-C plugs. There's the outlet for the heating, and that is what the interior looks like from the back. A very interestingly thought out car. So by someone who would love to have initially bought the Land Rover Defender tooling, wasn't able to, so clearly spent a good amount of time trying to come up with something equally good, if not better. The road manners are so much better than the original shape Defender. They corner better, they're quieter, they're smoother, they're faster. The seats are more comfortable. Equally good off-road, so I understand. But a surprisingly good car, and as a someone who has really liked Defenders, and I've had my Defender for a number of years now, but I've sold lots of them, and I know that people who have Defenders, they wave to each other. They're a real sort of a cult car, and someone like myself who was very into my Defenders, I'm a lot more impressed with this car than I ever thought I was going to be. It's done just under 7,000 miles. It was serviced in July last year, so it's not due another service until July. The condition, as you can see, is fabulous. It's just a really brilliant and very cleverly thought out car that will do pretty much everything a Defender will do, if not more. So I hope you like the car. I hope you like the video and find the video useful. If you'd like to know more about the car, please visit our website, www.bramshawebv.com. Either pop us an email or drop us a text or WhatsApp, or pick up the phone and speak to us. We'd love to talk to you about it. Thanks for watching.